Kings and Queens, Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for always returning. Trust you and yours are well and you are loving yourself a lot, just like always. Many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you, my esteemed subscribers. You are loved, celebrated, and appreciated. What they kept hidden from you and I is being exposed by them. What they feel that we shouldn't know about, it's on its own coming out in the daylight, and people who are wise and smart are picking the information, and it is useful, Your Majesties. There are a lot of things that while we are growing up and still schooling, we believe that they are the ultimate truth. I never for one believed that one day I would be into this journey of searching for the absolute truth and knowing what is what from what. Not what I was taught in the four walls, but what the truth actually is, and what is the truth. This is a question that we should be asking ourselves every day, because realizing that majority of what we were taught, 99.9% of what we believe to be true, something is definitely wrong with it. It's either it is the truth mixed with something, or it is definitely not the truth. Okay, this is for a fact. If you have been trying to excavate and discover more, you will understand better what I am saying, Your Majesties. Now, when I tell you that the world was somewhat closer than it is now, it's not because I want to say that it is what the ancient maps are saying, it is what old documents are saying, how it was easy for our ancestors to move around the world without a serious hindrance. Why? Because the world was more together than today. A lot of parts have been ripped apart, and we've been separated so much. Okay, now when you look at the whole world, you discover that there is something common when it comes to civilization. All right, you discover that, especially when it comes to ancient African civilization, you discover that there are a lot of things that are in the continent that are outside. They are not just in America, but they're in other parts of the world, in Asia, in the Middle East, actually Africa, right? In other parts of the world, in Europe, not the ones that were stolen, because if they were able to steal even the whole land, they would have carried it and dropped it in Europe. But there are architectures that you see in a part in the world, you see it in another part, and you be like, does it mean this thing originated here? Where did it originate actually? Because the world was very close and people could easily move without so much a hindrance. I want us to listen to this, then I take you to what the documents are saying about how connected and how closer the world was before our time.
But melanated people on this planet, South America and Africa, were connected. And there was a thriving empire, a civilization that stretched from what we know as Central America, South America now, all the way to the land of ancient Kemet, down to the great Congo, the Holy Lands. The Congo jungle and the Amazon jungle made a super jungle. And this was the time when the Olmec Empire, the Aztec Empire, was created simultaneously after the one in Kemet. You understand me? Then a great cataclysm happened, breaking South America off from Africa. After that, the civilizations known as the Olmec, the Aztec, and the Inca went into demise and were taken over by Neanderthals' descendants, a straight-haired population. Study. For the more you study, the more options you will have. And the more options definitely means the more power.
Your Majesties, study to show yourself approved, because the more study you expose yourself to, the better understanding you have for a lot of things that seem to be so difficult to understand. Okay, So let's listen to what this book is saying. It says, all right. It says, by the time Adam was born, just be patient. Let's get through this and understand better. By the time Adam was born, the continent's wealth was already ancient. And this throw more light to the fact that I keep telling you that we were before Adam. We were before Adam. I don't know about you, but I'm part of those who were before Adam. So my ancestors do not come from the line of Adam. We were before Adam. Adam was created. Adam was a creation of some other beings. Okay? I understand that now. Before I didn't understand, but now I do. And it explains better. It explains a lot of things better. Okay? Most created as the earth cooled and a crust formed over its molten rocks by 3.5 billion years ago. This is what takes me to Dr. Kihura Nkuba. He always says this, and he tells you that the UNESCO is aware of this, that the world is older than what the Bible says, but they are not going to tell you the truth. This in their archives, they are aware of this. Diamonds were forced to the surface when dinosaurs still grazed the grasslands, and when Africa was still attached to the Americas. Did you get that? I'm going to say that again. Diamonds were forced to the surface when dinosaurs still grazed the grassland, and when Africa was still attached to the Americas. So this is now buttressing the point that was made in that video clip, that South America was one with Africa. And also, throw more light to the fact that I keep throwing to you here, that America and Africa was very closer. They were one. Your Majesties, especially those of you that say you do not have anything in connection with Africa, those of you from Africa, obviously, that tell us that you are from India. I don't know where that school of thought came from anyway. So this is it. There are a lot of documents out there to support what we are saying, and it's because it carries iota of truth. And when you look at the map, you understand that they were all attached to the motherland, and gradually God rifted apart. Our ancestors were able to travel around and develop the world, create civilization that helped develop the world, because the world was very closer, unlike what it is today, that places are now rift. Before you get to other places, you have to travel hours by flight before you can get to other places. Now, this is how we evolved. This is how the world evolved. This is how things happened gradually and came to be. The truth is that there are a lot of things that we should know as a melanated people that we don't know yet. So don't think that because you've studied to some point, you've known everything. You see, I always bring to you information here so that you deliberate upon it, do your own research, try to understand why there is a notion like this, try to understand why there is a point like this. Not to easily big up, speedily say, no, I'm not going to believe this. No, I'm not going to accept that. Open your mind. Open your mind, and then you see that knowledge will come into you. Okay? Store these knowledges, compare them. Our brains is the capacity of our brain is going to surprise you. Store it there, compare this truth, weigh them. Which one should you follow? Follow your heart. Follow your instincts, your majesties. Because your heart will never lie to you. The effort we are putting in here is to see that those things about us that was hidden, we try to unearth it gradually. And get to the connection, that point where we cut off from. The divine unity, Selikano. Reconnecting back to that divine unity and forging what we have destroyed. To see how the melanated was. What is the point? A lot of our histories were destroyed deliberately, set on ablaze. They destroyed them during the Dark Ages where people were prohibited to read. When you are seen with a paper or a printed object, you'll be killed because they don't want knowledges to spread, especially amongst the melanated who were seen as slaves. Those were good for slavery alone. The world was taken over by the Neanderthals and their descendants. And they dealt with us, the melanated. These cunning and wicked beings, why do you think they are cunning and wicked? We are going to do more about that in another video. I think I've talked about this here before. It is in their DNA. It is in their DNA to be cunning. It is in their DNA to be wicked. It is in their DNA to backstab. Because the question is, if our ancestors were this powerful and knowledgeable, how come were they overthrown? They were overthrown by people who it's already in their gene to be evil, to be schemers. No, it's not right to the season here. When you do research and read through other tablets, you discover that there are different categories of creation. There are different beings around the world. There is man and a kind of man. We have different kinds of man, and that's why we call it mankind. Man and mankind. Diverse creation. These beings that had the power to put two and two and create other things, to make things, cloned, created, different categories. Some through they experimented. And that's why we are what we are today. The world is what it is today. If man would wake up to the reality and return back to the power that is rightfully for him and her, the world would turn back to what it was before. There were people who took advantage, played around with us, cloned, took species from here, as species merged it with other lower beings, created other things. And those things are created in turn. There is a rebellion in them, in their DNA. It's broad. The world is deeper than what we think, or than what religion wants you to think. I'm going to leave you here today. I'll see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others. Stay safe, stay positive, always your majesties. Bye for now.